Oh my god, Thumper. I love this game so much. Today we're going to reimagine what Thumper would look like as a fully embodied, intense experience where you control the little chrome beetle car with your whole body. Hey there, this is Crystal Beasley and this is Embodied Reality. Have y'all played Thumper? They get a ton of things really right. After playing so many low poly games, seeing a richly detailed acid-festive visuals is so delightful. The integration of the music with the visuals is also top-notch. I played this plugged into a surround sound system, and that music adds a ton of drama and adrenaline to the experience. They use audio cues to tell you when you've executed a perfect turn. It is so satisfying to hear that face thump of the correct jump, which gives the game its name. Good job, y'all. They won a ton of awards, so I'm not even the only one who thinks so. They synchronize the action the player needs to take with the music. Banking and jumping happen in sync with the rhythm of the music. It feels just right when you get into the groove. If the jumping and banking happened with no relation to the beat of the music, it would feel super odd and confusing. Thumper gets full marks on their use of sound and sync as the organizing elements of their experience. Thumper's on PSVR. I see several ways that it could be a much more interesting experience if it was on a more sophisticated hardware that allowed for full body motion tracking. The PSVR is an odd half-breed of old school game console and VR that doesn't really match the needs of making VR content. It's keeping developers stuck in a console gaming mindset and therefore needs to die quickly and with prejudice. I just know someone from Sony is going to be looking at my LinkedIn profile.
Craig, stop this tantrum and just tell me what's wrong.
Hi. Thumper does really well on sound and sync, but it's missing out on the other 5. It makes the most of what it can do with PSVR, but with better hardware it could do so much more. Starting at the top, the #1 way to make better rhythm games is motion. Using full body motion can make for more intuitive UIs. In the PSVR version of Thumper, I felt like the thumb controls were backwards. In the training rounds, when it told me to bank right, I went right, except it was actually left. The way I instinctively thought it should be was exactly opposite the way that it actually was. That mapping would be a lot more straightforward if you could just use your whole body as the controller to jump and bank. Have players be the chrome beetle and slalom left and right to bank to the turns. Have them actually jump, with their legs to jump the beetle and crouch to clear the evil red bar obstacles. This stuff is not rocket surgery, y'all. The motions translate pretty literally here. As always, get some playtesters in early as you can in the development cycle. See what people do if you don't give them any instructions at all, and then match your controls to that so that in the final game, new players can get right into the action without much training. If players control the chrome beetle with a slalom motion synchronized with the music, it starts to feel more like a dance game like Dance Dance Revolution. Oh yeah, get your groove on, little beetle. DDR sold millions of units and inspired dozens of spin-offs and imitators. So, I don't know, maybe they're a good act to follow, you think? DDR required expensive, large footprint hardware that no doubt limited how many units they could sell. VR allows us to do the same sort of controls without requiring players to purchase a giant dance pad. Whole body motion tracking is coming soon to mainstream consoles and will open up a huge opportunity for more rhythm-based games like DDR and Thumper. #2, pose. Because you want players to jump, this needs to be a standing game as opposed to a sitting game. Having players stand rather than sit mashing a button with the thumb makes this experience even more embodied. #3, exertion. Which is more intense, doing this or doing this? Jumping is an excellent way to build intensity because it uses the largest muscle group in the body, the quads. The quads are particularly effective at quickly ratcheting up the intensity. Even just a few jumps will immediately signal to the brain to increase the heart rate, which intensifies the game's mood of euphoria and excitement. The evolutionary purpose of this quickened heart rate is to drive better performance. Probably better performance at running after a rabbit to get some dinner, but the brain doesn't know the difference between jumping over an obstacle to catch dinner and jumping a Futuro Chrome Beetle car on an acid trip. Adding physical intensity not only makes the game more fun, but it also makes us naturally better performing at the game. We've already covered how Thumper uses sound and sync, so let's move on to number 6, breath. Breath mostly takes care of itself if you use the sync and exertion elements. In this case, jumping with the beat. The player's breathing will become more rhythmic automatically. It's kind of a buy two get one free kind of thing. In this example, players have no conscious awareness of the breath. The breath element does add to the intensity of the embodied experience, it's just not the focus of it. Number 7, touch. I don't see a huge opportunity to use the touch element in Thumper. Touch is the most challenging one to use in VR given our current hardware situation. That's fine. You don't have to use all 7 elements, but the more you can incorporate, the better. Okay, that's all 7. Today we talked about how Thumper could be imagined using a full body control instead of the PSVR console controllers. Players slalom the body left and right to steer the Beetle on the track instead of pushing along with their thumb, and build intensity by actually jumping with their legs to jump over obstacles. It's more fun when it uses more of the elements of embodiment. There's another whole episode on the 101 of embodiment which lays out the basics of all those 7 elements. There's a link in the show notes on YouTube to check that out. And if you, yes you, are building a rhythm game, please do holler at me in the comments or on Twitter at Crystal D. Beasley. I would love to take a look at works in progress. I want to stick my finger in the cake batter. I'd love to feature your work on the show. Maybe we'll even get you in for a live interview. So much more to come, y'all. Till next time, I'm Crystal Beasley. Ciao! And this is Embodied Reality.
Everything's okay.